Hey friends, it's Megan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be working with the new Dollar Tree Nautical decor and I'm excited to show you some DIYs and ways I'm styling some of their other decor to help get you inspired for summer. So let's jump right in. So right off the top, we have this adorable Dollar Tree home sign and the adorable Crafty kitty making his entrance. So I'm using one of the new ceramic sand dollars sold at Dollar Tree and it comes in a pack of 3. They also now sell 3 packs of ceramic starfish that are also equally adorable. So I thought it would be a fun way to revamp this sign if I could take a sand dollar and place it over where they have the sand dollar already printed. But I'm going to show you how exactly I do that by using this Waverly chalk paint. I'm using the color white and I'm first covering up the printed sand dollar there because I don't want any of the print paper, whatever you want to call it, to show through. And I'm going to have this sand dollar right on top of it so you would have been able to see that through the holes of the sand dollar. So I'm just hot gluing the sand dollar to the very, very middle of this circle. It holds really well with just hot glue. Nothing else was needed to hold it. And now I'm taking this Dollar Tree nautical rope and I'm just making a loop around the sand dollar, and I'm gonna do this a couple of times. So this is a really, really fast, easy DIY, takes very, very minimal effort, and it's just a way that you can style this sign to give it a nice, fun farmhouse look. And I already feel like it looks farmhouse enough. So I felt like this was the last step to make it even more adorable. And the thing about this rope is definitely when you cut it, the ends split off. So I'm just now hot gluing those ends together with my mask applicator and just putting those ends of the string together. And just like that, it's done. Like I said, quick and easy. And this is how it looks when it's hung up in your house, or my house. So next up we have this Dollar Tree lighthouse sign. It had some very interesting colors in it and very, very bright blue satin ribbon, and I wasn't a fan of that, and I felt like I wanted to make this more of a neutral sign. And if you guys have been following me for a while, those are typically the crafts I like to make. I'm very much a minimalist crafter. Don't like to do a whole lot of color, and I typically like to stick with the farmhouse colors. So that's basically what I'm going to do with this sign. So that ribbon came out very, very quick. It was just taped to the back, nothing else needed. Then with the parts where I took off the tape, it definitely pulled up a little bit of the material with it, so I just had sanded that down. So now I'm just chalk painting over the back of this sign. I'm not even going to bother covering up the other side of the sign. You can totally do that if you want it to look more like a finished product, but I didn't feel like that was necessary because string was going to go over top of it, and you'll see what I mean by that in a little bit. So I used the Waverly white chalk paint for the 3 boards, and then for the top piece, I'm using the Waverly ink color. So it comes out a very dark black, and that is the perfect color that I thought would look great for a farmhouse version of this lighthouse. So I'm just making sure to get the paint now in every little edge of the windows and just cover it up completely. And making sure to put the lid back on my paint so that my cat just does not decide to stick his face into the paint like he's like to do that before. It's not fun, let me tell you. So now I'm just taking the very back of the sign, and like I said, this is why I felt like I didn't need to do the back of the sign. I'm gluing string to the very back of it to reattach the pieces back together. So I'm leaving a small amount of space in between each board, trying to match it up to how it looked before, but you know, obviously it's going to look slightly different, and just trying to even things out as best I can because this string has to go across all 4 pieces. So just hot glue is needed. This is not a very heavy sign, so hot glue is definitely enough to hold the string down. I believe this sign also had glitter on it, right where you see the blue words right there. So didn't feel like messing with more glitter. So now it's on both ends of the sign. Just making sure everything is lined up and even. It's not going to be perfect, but it's good enough. So this is what it looks like when all of the pieces are in place and everything is held together. So I used Dollar Tree twine instead of a ribbon like was used before, that blue satin ribbon that was so bright. So now I'm taking more of that Dollar Tree nautical rope and I'm just going to put a tiny piece at the very, very top of that little board that you see me hot gluing right there. And I do cut off the ends because I felt like it was sticking out a little bit too much on both sides. So it does go a little bit past the board, but I did cut off some of the ends. So now I'm taking the Waverly Antique Wax and I'm using a different brush than I normally use. I'm not using my regular distressing style paintbrush. I'm just using a very, very thin brush. I thought maybe this would give me some great lines. And then I kind of regretted later using this brush. So I'm trying to dry brush the wax onto this. And as soon as I got the wax on there, this brush, you can see it right there, the ends just kind of spread out on it right away. So I don't recommend using this brush. You might be able to find a different kind of a thin paintbrush for this. So once I put it on there, then I used a paper towel to kind of rub it in. And basically the look that I was going for by doing this was a weathered, almost like the lighthouse had been rusted and was old. So that, I feel, to me, gave it more of the farmhouse touch, but at the same time, it, you know, kind of looks like a rusty lighthouse. And there you have it. If I can lay that down flat. And just showing you guys really quickly how easily the antique wax comes off of this crafting mat. So I've linked this crafting mat down in the description of my video below for you guys to check it out. It's definitely come in handy. I love being able to just be as messy as I want and not have to worry about any paint or anything going through it, and it doesn't get on my table. So here is the finished product. This is my rustic lighthouse. So I hope you guys like it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Next up, we have a shadow box. You guys know I love to make shadow boxes. I feel like I make one in almost every video. So of course, I had to take my turn at making this a nautical version. So I'm taking this scrapbook paper that I found at Hobby Lobby, and I have to say thank you so much, Savannah from Savvy Crafts with Savannah, for reintroducing me to Hobby Lobby. We got to meet up recently, and then she told me all about Hobby Lobby, and we walked through together and we picked up a bunch of scrapbook paper. So it was super, super fun. And this one was definitely a favorite of mine. And the second I saw it, I knew I had a craft idea for how to use it. So that's exactly what I'm doing now. So I took some Mod Podge and just put that in the very back of this box. And the box that I'm actually using is a Dollar Tree Easter decor box. And I like to save these kinds of boxes every holiday. They have these kind of shadow boxes. I don't know if that's technically what they are, but that's what I call them. And I save them from almost every season because they always come in handy later for a craft that I have in mind. So I'm just using that Mod Podge to lay down my scrapbook paper. And I did use this scraper, the Cricut dupe scraper that Dollar Tree now sells, to kind of scrape it down. And then it definitely stuck up a little bit at first, but it did eventually lay flat once it started to dry. So I took one of those Dollar Tree anchors that you see there. I was just painting that white with the white Waverly chalk paint. And that is going to go in the middle of my box. And that anchor is one of the new Dollar Tree wood cutout nautical decor pieces. So I got a bunch of those, and they also had like whales and sea turtles, and it was super cute. So definitely had an idea right away as soon as I saw it. I wanted to make something like this. So I'm using the Dollar Tree nautical rope once again. I think maybe I use this in every single one of my crafts. And I'm just placing this on the very top on the edges of the box. And you'll notice there that you can see a little bit of the Mod Podge. It definitely came through a little bit. It came through around the edges of the box. You can see it's sticking up right there. And so what I did was I did take my finger sander that you see, the yellow finger sander there in the back of the video, and I did scrape off that Mod Podge, the excess that came through. So that when it was drying, it definitely didn't dry clear, so I had to scrape that off. So that is something I wanted to point out. So make sure to do that if you're working with this type of shadow box. You'll notice that the Mod Podge will come through a little bit, so all you have to do is just sand it right off. So I love this nautical rope. It adheres really well to hot glue. It's the perfect edging for this box. So now this anchor is going to go right in the very, very middle of the box. Just using some hot glue there to adhere it. And that's really all you need. Just like that. Super simple DIY. And here's what it looks like when it's done. And don't mind the driftwood to the very right of this video. That is for a separate craft I've been working on. Hopefully I'll be able to share that with you soon, but it's been a work in progress and I need some more driftwood pieces before I can show you it. So for the next DIY, I am using this new Dollar Tree, it's apparently called a HELM, wood cutout. And my cat was apparently trying to sniff that paint as well. I don't know why he's so attracted to the paint all the time. But make sure you show the Crafty Kitty some love, leave this video a thumbs up, leave him some love down in the comments below, and I will relay the message. So I'm using the Waverly Pool Color chalk paint for the helm to just cover it completely. And then I'm using those Dollar Tree stencils and I'm actually cutting them out so I can lay them better because they have to be spaced out a certain way because this is a very odd shaped material that I'm stenciling on. So I have to space them out quite uniquely. So definitely cutting out the individual letters was the most helpful thing. That stencil sheet is definitely a long sheet and it's not easy to just do it one by one, like going from letter to letter. So it's way easier to just cut them out and lay them down with using masking tape. And what's great about using masking tape is that I don't feel like masking tape is very strong, so it doesn't pull up any of the paint when you're laying down the letters. And it certainly didn't do that for mine, so I don't know if my masking tape is just old, but it didn't stick to the actual craft too much. Like it wasn't going to pull up any of the blue paint that I just laid down. So I definitely recommend using masking tape to hold down those stencils. So now I'm just taking some Waverly chalk paint, the white color, and just kind of pressing it down with my sponge brush. And one of my subscribers did tell me that that was a great way to kind of make sure the paint wasn't going to bleed through, to just kind of dab it like that, like I was just doing. It definitely did work. I will say though, I'm such a messy painter that some of the paint did still bleed through. I guess with these stencils, I guess it's a little bit tricky not to, but this isn't something that I wanted to use a Cricut for anyway. I feel like even if I did have a Cricut, I probably would have still used these stencils because I really liked the font. So I don't know if you can read it from here. It might be a little bit hard to see, but it's going to say beach house. And now, don't mind the pajamas. I'm taking some of that Dollar Tree twine and I'm wrapping it around each little handle just to give it more of a farmhouse, nautical, coastal farmhouse, whatever you want to call it, look. And I did that for every single one of the little handles. I'm not really sure what to call them, so I'm just going to call them handles. So just hot gluing down each one using my mask applicator again so I don't burn myself. And so this is one way I styled it. I later put on shells and then just took some fishnet and kind of threw that on top of it. And I felt like that was super beachy. So that's just one way you can style it. You can also do it without the fishnet. So let me know in the comments which one you prefer, with or without the fishnet. How would you guys style it? So this was another DIY. I didn't want to show you because all I did here was just paint it. And this is a new Dollar Tree anchor wood cutout as well. So this is just one way you can style this as well. And I wanted to show you some other Dollar Tree decor. These whales, the little anchor there, the ceramic starfish, and all of that is new, and the basket was my own, but I wanted to show you some other ways you could style the Dollar Tree decor. So if you want to check out more videos, watch them here on the left, and make sure to check me out on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching, and tune in next week. Thanks.